conversation. Um, and you can get your message out and get a little bit of publicity. Yes, I'm going to ask questions. That's what I do. So be prepared to answer or ask questions of your own. Keep in mind also, we are live on Facebook. We're not only on Facebook, we're also on Zoom. We are also on YouTube, where I'm asking you to subscribe to the channel. That's where you know what's going on. So join the conversation from YouTube, join the conversation from Facebook, or join us here on Zoom, where you can participate and join in. Happy New Year, happy MLK Day. So a lot of it going on. Please come on here, share with us what did you do today? How did you celebrate Martin Luther King Day? A lot of festivities were going on around town. Did you get an opportunity to make some of those events? If not, that's okay. But was it just another day of rest, or did you work? Did you have to go to work? What did you do? So feel free to come on and tell us how you spent your MLK Day, your Martin Luther King Day. What about the statue? Did you see the statue? I mean, a lot of talk around town about the statue that was designed. The statue was designed by an African-American male, so you don't have to look it up. His name, I think his name was Hank. And he designed the statue. Is it much to do about nothing? Join the conversation. Let us know what your feelings are on the statue of Martin Luther King. It's supposed to be him hugging his wife. I don't know. When I initially looked at it, I didn't know what it was. So I don't know if it was deliberate. I don't personally think that it was deliberate, but I don't think that whoever was looking at the statue at some particular point, I would hope that when you spend that type of money at that time, that you would turn out a product that people would be proud of. And I don't think that happened. Okay. So I just think it's one of those things where, not enough oversight in terms of how the project was going. Somebody should have told him, look, I don't know if I like it, and gave him some feedback on the direction that he was going with that particular project. But nevertheless, it's in Boston. So if you want to check it out, you can always check it out either in Boston, or you can look it up online, because when I first saw it, I didn't know what it was. It messed with me, but there were, maybe don't let me be the judge. Okay, I don't want to be the judge. So if you are looking, look it up online and you tell me what you think. In any event, if you're running as a candidate, come on, join the conversation. Guys, if you can't meet and talk with me, you can't meet and talk with anybody. So join the conversation. Come on, tell us your platform. Tell us why you decided to run for office, what local community you're running for. It's MLK Day, guys, so this is not a day of service and so on and so forth. So I expect individuals to be coming on here that are doing their service. How did you spend your MLK Day? I spent it working. As you can see, my shirt is on because for me, it was about working. Now, a friend of mine told me that I need to sit down somewhere and not work so much. But for me, it would be parents were home. People they took the day off. So it was a good opportunity for me to just sit down. Work. It's like another day. My weeks are what they are. In any event, my hearing, if you don't know, I am being challenged by the opponent. I'm so interesting about these challenges because I've been challenged before, and I don't mind. So listen, I'm not new to this. Okay, I'm not new to this, and I'm not naive about the challenging process. A little taken back by the challenge that I have, because a couple of the signatures, well, not all of the signatures that I've received were from individuals on election day. So I'm one of these candidates that I've been doing it long enough I generally collect my own signatures for these little local races because it's just small enough. You don't need as many signatures. So I generally collect my own signatures, and just to be certain that I have good signatures. So, and I always wait on election day. So I collect my signatures while people are coming from the polls during election day. My signatures were challenged. I didn't need a million signatures. Listen, guys, I didn't need a million signatures. You only needed 69 signatures if you were running as an independent. Now, if you were running as under the established party, which in this case would be the Glenwood First Party, then you would only need 25 signatures. I think the people that ran submitted 20. I don't even think, you know what, to be honest with you, they submitted 20, they submitted 20 to 32 signatures. One submitted 31 signatures. And all they did was shuffle the pages. The gentlemen just shuffled the pages. They were the same signatures. I bet you money if I had done some background check, most of those people didn't even know that they had signed each one of those petitions for those candidates because they didn't know. And then nonetheless, I mean, hey, what the heck? I mean, if you guys want to run for office, come on and run for office. But in any event, in my challenge, they even challenged my challenger's granddaughter or daughter signed my petition. They actually challenged her signature as well. So it's just very interesting to see how these things go by. Do you think as a candidate, now here's the thing, you know, when they do these challenges, okay, and again, no matter what community you're from, when they do these challenges, do you feel that you should have to go all the way down to Cicero? It's so out of the way. It's so far. It's just ridiculously just in a very uncomfortable. There's no easy way to get it. And it's where you do your signature verification if you don't know. So if you're a candidate running for office, let me just give you the brief. People have the right to challenge you, and in the process of them challenge you, they have the right to verify that the signatures that you gathered are real. Now, in my case, you know, the person who was looking at my signature, which I don't even understand it, the person who was looking at my signature, he overruled on certain areas, like the person does live there, the person does live within the district, but the signature isn't valid. So he accused essentially of me collecting signatures. Well, I guess he thought that I wrote their names down. I mean, it was just really some goofy stuff. But one of the people that my challenger, my objector, one of the signatures that he challenged was his grandbaby or his daughter or whatever, or daughter-in-law. She lives in his son's house, and the person signed the petition, and I didn't expect to be able to go and get the signature qualified because I guess once she recognized that her dad was the challenger, or granddaddy or whoever, I don't know the relationship between them, but she signed the petition, and now I guess it's like buyer's remorse. You know, my granddaddy or my dad, I can't support the signature. Just a bunch of nonsense stuff that you go through. But in those situations, guys, I mean, and this is why it's so important for a candidate to honestly know who they're running against and who's in the town. You know, if you don't know who's running in the town, and you don't know the relationships of these people, a lot of times you be talking to somebody thinking that they're your friends, and generally they'll be backstabbing you or signing your petition only to pull it in the event that they have an opportunity. Just interesting observation. So, you know, when you're running, I would advise and make sure you walk around, make sure you talk with as many people as you want. Make sure that you have some sort of rapport where they remember, because you may have to go get affidavits. I had to go get some affidavits from the people that signed my petition so that they can see that I didn't forge their signatures. But you may have to go and get affidavits, and you need to be prepared, at least be known well enough where people feel comfortable signing your affidavit. You know, I think about if I had been somebody that nobody knew and this had happened, you know, I'm just thinking about the difficulties that I had just trying to get their signatures, right? Trying to go back and get their affidavits. that was a hot mess. Okay, so I can only imagine, somebody that may not necessarily be as well known, what they may have to go through in order to get affidavits from people who've already signed. They've already signed your petition. It's just a bunch of mess. I mean, just another way to bog down the system, but it's what it is. And my hearing is on Wednesday. No, I'm not necessarily worried about it per se. I mean, hopefully things will go as they should, but I should have enough signatures to remain on the ballot. If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation, guys, with Trustee Adam Winston. Happy Martin Luther King Day, guys. We are here alone. I don't have any guests today. I just really wanted to get on here to make certain that I kept you in the know. I've heard recently there was someone who was shot over there at the Buffalo Wild Wings. Is this area changing? How do you feel? Do you feel like this area is going to be even more difficult or more, it's going to be plagued with more issues as the casino gets here? So my question to you is, do you think, and this is our question for the evening, do you think that Homewood is going to be able to handle the influx? Do you think it's going to be an influx? I mean, do you think it's just going to be something that people are just going to move? I mean, the casino's going to get here. Should the casino be responsible for helping fund additional police forces? Was this one of the talks? Because I would hope that if you have a casino as large as the one that's going to be opening up in Hazelcrest, East Hazelcrest, that additional police presence will be known. East Hazelcrest can't really support additional police. And to be honest with you, East Hazelcrest is kind of small. So I would assume that the blunt of the pickup would be from Homewood and neighboring communities. What's your thoughts? The young man who was shot at Buffalo Wild Wings, I heard he perished from the gunshot wound. That's pretty much what I heard, but does that concern you? Should we be concerned? I mean, who's asking or demanding? Questions should be answered about, police protections and the community's welfare when the casino gets here. So that's something that I think that should be community talk. I can see up there on Halstead that it is happening. I mean, the casino, the developers are moving along. They are not wasting any time to get that. They look like they're going to be well on pace to get that casino opened up in time to make that holiday money in a couple of years. So I'm just wondering, do you feel like the community of East Hazelcrest, and Homewood are ready for the additional influx of traffic, crime, other things that come naturally when you have more people in a centralized area? If you heard anything about the Calumet Country Club, please come on. I'd like to hear any updates that you may have or you may have heard about the Calumet Country Club. So if you heard something, please make certain that you stop by here on Tea and Conversation. We're here every Monday at 7 p.m. And we are just talking community news. So tomorrow here in the village of Glenwood, there is a village hall meeting. I know over the week, there's been much conversation about the water bill. Some of the things that I heard in terms of the water bill, they just don't make sense to me. Okay, the bills aren't estimated. However, some of the bills, they just seem too common. 4,000 gallons, 6,000 gallons. Everybody in the town using even amount of gallons of water. It just seems like there needs to be some sort of more attention being paid to how these water bills are being created. I mean, I've been told that it's no estimate Um, um, you know, there's no estimate. The bills are what they are. But I don't know. It sure feels like some of the water bills are a guesstimate of what and how much gallons of water people are using. And I think that that's part of the reason why people are having such concerns about the water bills. You know, I use an extra gallon. You have people who have two people in the house, and they're like, "Wow, we use 4,000 gallons this month. We use 8,000 gallons. How are these bills that aren't estimated determined?" And I think that that is something that I think that we need much more conversations about, because I don't feel like I understand how these bills are coming about. So if you got questions about your water bill, give me a call. I can tell you what I know, and I could tell you much to do about water because I've been around for a minute. No, I don't have a dissertation. I don't have a whole gigantic blueprint to tell you about everything water. No, I don't have that. However, if you have some specific questions about water and how your bill comes about, I'll do the best I can to try to answer. And if I can't answer the questions, I will do the best I can to point you in the right direction. If you're not from Glenwood, guys, so this is not, we get too caught up in our silos and we think that water is only about, Glenwood. I'm speaking through the Glenwood lens, right? Because this is where I'm at, but it isn't just about Glenwood. It doesn't matter where you are. I've been on my soapbox for years. Anybody that knows, I've started a non-for-profit. I've been working that non-for-profit, not as much as I should, but as much as I possibly can, to make certain that everybody has access to clean water, clean drinking water. No home should go without water. But I'm more concerned, and I'm going to be beating the drums on this, about consistency in the billing. Consistency in the billing. Water bills, if you live in Glenwood or you move to Homewood, you should be able to there should be some sort of universal language, right? I mean, we expect it in other areas. The gas bill is in another community, the gas bill looks the same. But in these little local towns, it's just too much difference in how does your community sell the water by the 1,000 gallons? Some communities, Chicago Heights was selling their water by 700, 600 gallons, right? Which, you shouldn't have to be a mathematician to be able to decide or determine how much water you use, right? You should easily be able to follow along and be able to say, okay, I use 6,000 gallons times 12, that my bill should be around this much. Okay, we got these different fees. There's the problem I think that most people have with water billing all over is that there's just no consistency. There's no consistency from community to community in terms of how those bills are generated, how each community decides to bill their customers. I said some communities are charging, they charge $7 for 600 gallons. Our community here in the village of Glenwood, we charge by the 1,000 gallons, so I think it's $12 each per 1,000 gallons of water. But does there need to be much more of a unified code in terms of reading the water bills? Many of the challenges that we have from community to community, you don't even know how much you're being charged, right? Shouldn't you know how much your water bill is, whether you live in Riverdale, whether you live in Glenwood, whether you live in Homewood? You should be able to easily identify your water bill. And then let me just tell you, the last week we were here, we were talking about these water bills, and some towns charge the sewage rate. I don't like that sewage rate thing. I think it's a scam, right? And so let me just tell you what. Just like there's a meter that brings the water into your home, where's the meter reading the discharge? So when I see sewage, right, on a bill, when I see a sewage, I know it's a scam. I'm sorry, I'm just going to go out there. It's a scam because there's no meter that I know of. And I'm somebody who does construction work, right? I do construction work. Not only do I do construction work, but I kind of follow and I kind of understand how this water thing goes on. But there's no meter at your house that reads how many gallons of water are being discharged. And now this is important before you get to, I guess they could just, what if you water your plants? Where does that water? How do you read that when it doesn't go, it's being discharged, right? But it's not going down the sewer pipe. What if you wash your car, right? How do you read that meter, right? So you know that it's a scam because there's no realistic way that you can read that particular meter. So I mean, to me, it's just another way for communities to kind of game the system. They game the system by charging you for sewage, and they don't really pay for sewage themselves. And these are questions that we must start asking. We must start asking because we're not paying for sewage, but your community is charging you for sewage. I have to say, Glenwood, it was a minute or three where we were really complaining about the price of water. And don't get me wrong, rightfully so, okay? Because I remember when the water was going up, the water had gone up 3 times in about a 6-month period. Let me just say that. It was about a 6-month. The water increased. And before that water went up that many times, to be honest with you, there was no increase. There had not been any increases, okay? So the mayor at the time decided that it was, that he had gotten word from Chicago Heights, who sold us our water. And Chicago Heights said that there were going to be an increase. There was going to be an increase in water charges. So our mayor at that particular time, not the mayor that's here, this mayor that's currently in Glenwood was just sitting on the board, decided to increase the water, right? So he increased the water, and then, it became this, oh my God, water's going to be unpriceable. And I get it. I mean, well, I don't get it, but I mean, he made it, or he turned it into what I felt at the time. So those people who hated me over water, you're probably going to hate me over this, but he made it into something that just really, it's a dire, urgent matter. We got to get ahead of this water, right? Because the water rates are through the roof. We got to get ahead of this water. So he raised it again. So in a very short window, our water went from $3. Honestly, our water was back in 2015. Our water was like $3. It was like $3 per $3.35. It was like $4.50 per 1,000 gallons. I mean, just unbelievably cheap water. And the mayor at the time decided that he was going to try to get ahead of the increases in the water by going to a potable water system where essentially he was going to mix our water with a little bit of treated well water, whatever you want to call it. I didn't agree, okay? In fact, I may let it be known, I'll never forget the day that they voted. Nobody came to these meetings at the time, but the day that they voted on doing it, I was like, this is stupid. That's my exact words. This is stupid. I cannot believe the board voted to bring in portable water to mix with our fresh water. Who wants that crap? And let me tell you, this was what was said. I have the votes. The mayor at the time says, I have the votes. This individual is going to vote with me. This individual is going to vote with me. This individual isn't going to vote, right? That individual he was talking about was Tony Plott. He said, that individual won't vote with me, but the rest of them will vote for me, with me, and we will get this done. At the time, there was a gentleman named Terry Campbell that lived in the town. He still probably works in the fire department because here in Glenwood, you can retire and still collect a check. Okay, so he probably still works at the fire department right now in retirement, or for Kurt's ambulance, whatever. Who knows where you work at once you get into the fire department, right? But he decided in all of his infinite wisdom, well, if you're going to run against us doing this, I'm going to run on it. Well, needless to say, the rest is history. They ended up losing that particular election. because the community did not want to go back to portable water. They did not want it. Okay. So that made me no friends. Needless to say, I made no friends, and it just became a kind of a the deal about nothing, where some of these people who felt that they lost whatever their way because we didn't get well water decided to put me in their crosshairs, and they just made me an enemy of the state. In this case, an enemy of the village. So in any event, here we are. Okay, here we are in 2023, and since the water was raised up to $12, which was some years ago, our water has not had an increase since probably, like I said, about 2015, maybe 2014, may have been a little bit earlier than that. We have not had a water increase. Our water rate is $12 per 1,000 gallons. Now that's not withstanding all of the additional fees. Any additional fees in terms of administrative, those things don't have anything to do, right? But our water is $12 per 1,000 gallons. Now, the reason why you need to know that is because if you look at other communities around it, like last week, their guest on here, Cassandra Matt, trustee from Village of Olympia Fields, she shared with her water bill. Their water is $23 per 1,000. $23 per 1,000 gallons. That is almost, ours is 12. That's almost double of our water. If you look at Park Forest, their water is, God knows, $20 a gallon, and they have their own treatment facility, right? You look at places like University Park, which don't even have, they're still dealing with the contaminated water. And the Village of Glenwood's water is only, and I say that loosely because I think it's only one other person who has water cheaper than us or as cheap as us, and that's Thornton. Everyone else around us, their water is really averaging around $16. $16. I think even Chicago Heights, who is they provide water, they're our suppliers. Their water is higher than ours, and they're the supplier to all of these different communities. So we need to sit down and really have brutally honest conversations about water. I'm not getting into it in terms of we got some aging infrastructure. If the water is too high, I agree. Water will always, I don't give a dang if the water was $3 a gallon, right? I personally think that water should be a right. It should not be a fee for it. I think every American resident in this country should have access to clean drinking water. I just think that should be the case. Now, granted, if you live in places like Texas and some of these places where they have mass droughts, those are logistic areas where the demand is much higher. But if you live in states like Illinois, Michigan, where water is around us and so on and so forth, all of these communities, to be honest with you, I don't care what it is. Water should be publicly funded and publicly controlled. I don't believe in private companies controlling your water. That is the stupidest thing. Nothing against the University Park. I don't think that private agencies should control how your water is being handled. That should be done by the local government. And I honestly think that there should be some sort of a water committee, right? Where somebody from all of these communities is on that board, right? On that board to kind of not allow any one person to kind of have a monopoly on access to water. So I think that we definitely need to look at how we treat water, how we handle water, so on and so forth, who has access and who controls the water. Water should not become political. It's the lifeline. Every community has to have it. So I don't even understand what's the big, we need to have some serious conversations about it. And personally, I think it should be a part of your tax burden. If you're just joining, welcome to TN Conversation. I am Trustee Adam Winston. Most of you guys know. We do TN Conversation every Monday at 7 p.m., whether it's a lot of guests or one guest or just me. Today, we don't have a whole lot of guests. It's just me. And we're talking about things that are going on in our community. Happy Martin Luther King Day. What did you do? So what did you do? You can share your comments on Facebook. You can share them on YouTube because we are streamed on YouTube, or you can just come and join me on Zoom and state your question. What does it mean to you? I mean, is it just another holiday? Do we treat it as a day of service? Did your community have any picnics or parades or anything? My community didn't have any picnics or parade. Barely, if I recall, I didn't even see a whole lot of signage that says Happy Martin Luther King Day. I think that we only just said the office is closed on Martin Luther King Day. I don't know. What did your community do? So did you see the statue? I want to know what your thoughts are. I saw the statue where, listen, let's just get it out. The statue looked horrible. Okay, let's just get it there. I know that the intent was good, but you know what pastors used to tell me? Yes, I go to church. The good intentions are what paves the way to the other place. Okay, so yes, I think that he had good intentions. They just didn't come across very well. So if you did not have an opportunity to see the statue, this particular statue, MLK, I'm going to see if I can pull it up so that you can see the statue, but it looked, it was a tough look, okay? So let me just tell you that it was a very tough look, the statue. And yeah, it was a tough look. So I'm going to put it up there. I'm going to put it up on the screen so that you can see it. Okay, but it was no doubt a very a tough look. So here we go, and just so I can let you see it. This is the screen here. So this is the statue, if you haven't had an opportunity. And you know what, when you first see it, you know, it kind of can throw you off. It just looks, completely, this hand, it just looks like it's just going nowhere. The statue completely it just throws you off. I don't know, okay? I think that the artist, missed the mark on this one, okay? I understand the intent. I understand what the artist was trying to do. The statue didn't do it. And I just, I had the same issue, okay? I had the same issue when being from Detroit, I remember in Detroit, they did this fist, right? They did this fist from Joe Louis. And it's just this weird fist that was just hanging in the balance. And I just didn't understand it. And now the fist is just hanging there and it kind of grown on me. But yeah, this statue, I don't know if it's going to grow on any of us. It's just a tough look. And it's just a tough statue. In any event, welcome to TN Conversation. If you have not joined YouTube, right, join and subscribe to my page, Adam Winston's Monday Conversation on TN Conversation. It is an opportunity for you to ask questions about things that are going on in your community and mine as well. I just saw a young lady moments ago at a Jewel, not moments ago, but you know what I'm saying, a little bit earlier today. And she asked me about Dalton. Listen, all I know is a lot going on in Dalton, okay? And this show is not to bash any town, it's just to really make people aware about the different things that are going on, in spite of some of the things that you may hear. Most of the time, we just don't know what's going on because there is no news outlet for us to kind of follow that kind of keeps us abreast of what's happening in our neck of the woods and in the Southland area. So you just really don't have a resource. And my hope is that TN Conversation is that resource for you. So if you're just joining, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You do have to do is hit the subscribe button. It don't cost you nothing yet. I mean, it'd be nice at some point we start getting some stars, but right now I'm just happy to have people that follow along. So if you want to join me on Zoom, you can. Okay, I did put the link up there so you can join. Are you running for office? Don't hesitate to come on and tell us what office you're running for so that we can get to know you and tell us your story. You're going to have to talk to somebody. So you can start off right here where I may not necessarily be, okay, I may ask you some tough questions, but these are things that you're going to probably be asked by your constituents anyway. So why not just join the conversation and take your shot at letting people know who you are. Yes, I'm being challenged. I am being challenged. So my hearing is actually on Wednesday. So my hearing is on Wednesday at the Village Hall. So I guess I will have the findings if the board is going to let me stay on or not. Based on the evidence. These hearings are administrative, and I always tell people that these hearings initially they're all administrative. So they're not necessarily judicial. Well, they're not judicial hearings, right? Not necessary. Is that they're just administrative, and really at this particular phase, it's really more or less about the administrative side. Is the paperwork enough? Do they have enough signatures? Once you get through this particular part, then you should be okay. At these little local elections, in many senses, I see the people scrambling around and they're challenging this person and that person. I don't even understand it in many. I had an objection to one of the candidates that were running because I thought that they just fell way below. They were trying to turn in 32 signatures, and I thought the balance. I believed at the time that you needed at least 69 signatures to run. However, once I uncovered that they only needed 25 signatures to run, to me it was I'm not going to tie the system up, for 25 signatures. In fact, I don't even think you should be able to run ever in any place. You run for the library, you run for school board, you can't run with 25 signatures. To run for a local municipality and all you need is 25 signatures. To me, it does the community a disservice, right? It does the community a disservice when 25, and I get it. People will say, well, that's because it's such a low voter turnout. There should be a minimum regardless. We know that there's low voter turnout. And this is my criticism of these different parties, right? These parties that they're always gaming the system. 25 signatures should never be the only amount of signatures that you need to run for a local office. It's a disservice. It does not even speak or represent the bulk of the people that live in the town. Right? There should be a minimum. I don't care that it was only 1,300 people that voted. There should be a minimum of 50 signatures, which is what you need if you run for school board or library. There should be a minimum of that many signatures to even be considered. However, nobody wants to take on that challenge. So here we are debating 25 signatures. And again, I was talking about this last week. The problem for me in these challenges is not even the challenge. I think that the problem is the fairness or the illusion of bias, right? When you have candidates that are, that are running for office, they're being challenged by the party that's kind of in power, right? And that doesn't matter to most people until you're in that situation. So you essentially have your opponent being your judge and executioner. Yeah, that shouldn't sit well with anybody. So if in these local towns, if you're running against the mayor, who's generally the chair, now and again, this is why this is important. So you don't necessarily have to be running against the mayor, but you can be running against a slate of candidates that the mayor chose, right? So this is where it gets a little tricky, right? Because you got the mayor who and I'm just going to use it, Glenwood First Party, right? The Glenwood First Party, that's the mayor, he's the chair of that particular party. And he has candidates that are running, and he shows that he's running under his umbrella that are now challenging the Glenwood, the Greater Glenwood Party, which is my party. So they're challenging my party, but they're the judges in their parties are the judges on the committee. Now, and please, if you are out there and you are looking at this, there's so many things that are seriously wrong with this. Like I look at I had to go do my signature challenge last week. And so candidates that are running for office that objected to me, their lawyer was there or their representative was there, I was there. But then the village attorney is there doing what? And again, it's not that it's illegal, but the whole perception of it is absolutely just cringeworthy. And there's no chill. So when you hear people say, well, the system is rigged, all of the stuff that, for years, if you're a Trumpster, if you've been watching the Trumpster, we've been hearing that the system is rigged, and everybody kind of knows this. It's not even, I don't even think that it's a secret, right? But then to see it in real time, and there's no chill, there's no cross-examination. It's just, the cake is baked. And it's like, the cake is baked. That if you bite into it, it's loaded with razor blades. But then you still have to bite into this particular rigged cake. Why is the village attorney down there at a signature verification challenge? Now, if somebody can tell me this and tell me that's normal in your community, then I'll move along. And then I said, well, what brings you down here? Oh, I'm just sitting in. Sitting in for what? For what party? Who are you sitting in for, right? Because you're just sitting here to collect data for what reason? Is it for your own verification? I don't get it. Does that sound strange to you? Does that sound strange to you? It totally sounds incredibly strange to me, and I really don't get it. So, it is what it is. I am doing what I have to do, and will continue to do what I have to do. But all of it stinks to high heavens. That's all I can say. Okay. If you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. Okay. You are sitting here with your host, which is Trustee Adam Winston. I am an elected official here in the village of Glenwood, and we are just shooting the breeze, right? We're just talking about different things that are happening in our community and so on and so forth. And you can join me on Zoom. You can join me on Facebook. We are streamed live. We do this every Monday, and we talk about a lot of different things that are happening. So do join us. We're only here for about an hour. Happy Martin Luther King Day. If you have not, if you have done something on Martin Luther King Day, please come on here and share with us what you've done. I would love to know how you spent your Martin Luther King Day. Okay, so do come on here and tell us. Okay, because I'd like to know, did your community have a day of service? Did they have any programs? Did you get a chance to participate and visit some of those programs? Come on, let me know what you did to celebrate and honor this day of service, okay? Because that's what today really is all about. So, in other news, tomorrow there is a village meeting, okay? So there is a village meeting. So if you are in the village of Glenwood and you are looking for something to do, don't hesitate to stop back by the meeting. There isn't a lot on this agenda. There isn't a lot on the agenda. I thought I had it up, but there isn't a lot on the agenda for tomorrow. Only a couple of things that I can think of, but nothing that really seems very pressing. Okay, so do join us at Village Meeting. It's at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. So don't hesitate to stop by and check out the meeting. And maybe you'll learn something. I know that they're streamed, but don't get caught up in the stream. There's still, there's nothing like being in real time, checking out, this stuff and learning as much as you can about the process. I don't know if there's any debates. Yes, I don't know. You know what? I don't even like to look at myself as a debater. I'm not a debater. So when people ask me, is there going to be a debate for the camp? I really don't know. If you want just to debate with me, I don't mind. I mean, if you just want to ask me questions, listen, guys, I've been doing this long enough where I'm not shy, right? And you can come on here on TN Conversation on any Monday. You don't even have to wait for Monday. You can come anytime. I don't even care. You can ask me any questions that you want about the Village of Glenwood. You can ask me questions about other stuff if you want. I don't know why you would, but if you want to ask me questions about things that are happening in the Village of Glenwood, it doesn't matter, okay? Because I've been doing this long enough. I consider myself somebody who works for the Village of Glenwood and the residents here, and I'm proud to do that. So I have no objections to answering questions. So you don't really need a debate. If you want to just ask me how I would handle different things, I can tell you. I don't even need to prep for the question. And I think that shows you that I've been at this for a minute or three, where now there's nothing to hide from. I mean, if I can't answer the question, I can always get back to you, and I can get you that answer. So there's no dog and pony show. What you see is what you get, and I'm looking forward to you meeting the candidates, Tangela Taylor. I'm looking forward to you meeting with some of them because they need exposure and they need your support, because I need some help with me when I get onto this board. In any event, happy Martin Luther King Day. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel so that you can follow me, okay? You can follow me on YouTube. You can follow me on Facebook. Guys, I'm on Facebook too, because when I post on YouTube, I also paste on Facebook. I make certain, because some people do the Facebook thing. And I do it on my private page. I like to do it on the COG page. But you got these weirdos out here, right? That if I post because I'm the founder of this particular page, people just think that I'm just well, I did create the page, and I did create it for people to use it and to learn about different things. It is not a news page. So I've heard some comments in the past over the past week. Will COG? I'm sick of people blaming COG. COG is not. If you want news, go to the newspaper. Right? COG is a social platform for people to share things that are happening in and around their communities. It says it. You can go there. That's what and I said this year ago. I haven't even updated the language in COG. But COG, before there was many of these different sites where everybody now is duplicating my style, there was COG. And COG is a great platform to be used if used correctly. It's something that you can learn a lot about what's going on. I post about different things that I find interesting. There is a lot of useful information, and it should be shared. It's like people, it's like if somebody, can you imagine, let's just use this as an example. Can you imagine if somebody decided that the inventions or what the Wright brothers created in terms of flight, we're not going to use airplanes, right? because the Wright brothers created it. That's silly. The platform was created for the community to be able to use. But in our community, a lot of times, everybody wants to reinvent the wheel. They even go so far as to reinvent the wheel, steal the platform that I have, and then reinvent the wheel, or steal the information from my platform and then go put it on there. So, a lot of this has just got to stop. I get it. Everybody wants to have their own spin on it. Then do your own. You don't have to duplicate my style as if I have. You can just do your own thing in its entirety. In any event, if you're just joining, welcome to Tea and Conversation. We got about 7 minutes left in the conversation. It has just been me rambling on about water bills, the election, challenge that's coming up, all of the different things that are going to be coming up. If you're a candidate or you know a candidate that's running for office, please stop in here on Tea and Conversation on any given Monday. You have an open invitation where I will allow you to tell folks who you are so that we can get the word out about this fresh and new and up and coming group of people that are running for office. There are a number of people that are running for office. Lori Lightfoot for the mayor of Chicago. There are a number of aldermen. Last week we had an alderman on here. I think it was the 21st Ward. There are a number of people that are running for office, and they're new. They're new to the scene. Platforms like these give you an opportunity to kind of spin those wheels and get yourself acclimated to a much more hostile. So, in any event, happy Martin Luther King Day to each and every one of you. How did you spend your Martin Luther King Day? If you haven't subscribed to the page, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Guys, it takes a second. That way you can keep up when I do these shows, and you can keep up with the conversation every Monday. Board meeting tomorrow. There is a board meeting. It's the second board. These months are flying, but there is the second board meeting of the month that is taking place tomorrow at 7 p.m. So do join us at the Village Hall with your questions and concerns, or not. You can always just catch us the first Tuesday of the month in February. It's going to be a very short month. So other than that, that's it. Guys, I don't have anything else. It is now 7:55. I am cooking jerk chicken tonight. Well, my son is cooking jerk chicken tonight. And cabbage. So I'm excited about tasting this jerk chicken and cabbage. But until next week, guys, where we will have some more guests on. I am your host, Trustee Adam Winston. I look forward to candid conversation with you, and every Monday at 7 p.m. Till then, have a good night.